Burger lovers don't want none, unless the fast food chain's got buns, hun. So here are the buns that miss the mark and the ones that totally hit the buttery, toasty sweet spot. Burgers are hardly the focus of Dairy Queen's menu, and in fact, some of the chain's locations are exclusively dedicated to desserts. With that in mind, it's hardly a surprise that DQ's buns have ended up at the bottom of this list. Dairy Queen strays from the fast food burger standard by offering untoasted buns. Texturally, they're somewhat pillowy at first, before turning gummy after you bite into them, and that gumminess is their downfall. It's hard to imagine a burger bun tasting actively bad, considering the uncomplicated nature of a bread that's simply there to hold the sandwich together. And while it's not so bad that it's actively unpleasant, the DQ bun is excessively chewy and unnecessarily tough, with a neutral flavor that does little to affect its quality. That toughness is detrimental enough to sink to the bottom. McDonald's is probably more synonymous with hamburgers than any other fast food chain in the world, but that doesn't mean that its buns are any better than serviceable, as they simply fail to match the quality of those at other restaurants. The top of the bun is toasted a medium-heavy amount, whereas the bottom is heavily toasted. It's also smaller than the average bun. The most prominent part of the flavor is the toasted quality, which is underscored by a noticeably yeasty character. That flavor is subtle enough that it pretty much disappears entirely. In terms of texture, this bun is excessively gummy, resulting in the bread overstaying its welcome once you bite into it. That's not as big of an issue as it is with the Dairy Queen bun, but that extra toughness still holds McDonald's seriously back. Burger King's burgers are served in sesame seed buns that are toasted noticeably more than competing chains. That imbues them with a crispier texture than the industry standard, adding at least a little bit of substance to what is otherwise a relatively insubstantial amount of bread. In fact, that toasted element is the bun's greatest strength. Alas, that's not saying much, as the BK bun is largely unsatisfying. On its own, this bun tastes more like wheat bread than white bread, but whereas a grocery store wheat bread might sacrifice some flavor for healthfulness, the BK bun kind of tastes like it should be healthier than it probably is. Furthermore, the signature flame-grilled flavor of the patties does a lot to help the bun's character fade into insignificance. But since these buns do nothing positive besides adequately provide the burgers with structural support, they're stuck near the bottom of this list.
It's like thanks, but no thanks.
Checkers and Rallies serve their burgers inside a seedless bun. The top is moderately toasted, while the bottom is just lightly toasted. In terms of flavor, there's nothing particularly interesting happening here. The bun isn't soft or buttery enough to satisfy, while lacking any other flavor elements that make an impression either way. This actually fits the style of burger at this pair of chains, which don't really excel at any one thing. The best that can be said about this bun is that the toastiness of the top adds a little bit of flavor, but it's also breadier than would be ideal, which makes for a net neutral result. Ultimately, it gets the job done, but with nothing notable to show for it. The first thing that stands out about the Carl's Jr. bun is that its surface area is larger than most of its competitors. That certainly makes sense when you consider that the names of most of the burgers at Carl's Jr. start with either big or double, and the size of the bun immediately delivers on that implicit promise. Each Carl's Jr. bun is lightly toasted, and the texture is light and spongy, but also with a little bit of heft for balance. The flavor skews closer to wheat rather than white bread, but at least on the sesame seed version, a satisfying sesame flavor is unusually prominent. On a burger, the wheat flavor effectively disappears, while the bun's heft and those sesame seeds are positive contributors to the overall eating experience. It's not the best bun in the world, but it does its job more than adequately.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
The aspect that stands out most about the Whataburger bun is its size. In a dining landscape that rewards loading a burger up with heaps of ingredients, Whataburger opts instead to expand outward rather than upward. This wide bun is seedless and lightly toasted, while the flavor is light and buttery. It's almost akin to the sort of lightly toasted bread served at a diner. Burgers at this chain come standard with a substantial amount of toppings in addition to a relatively flavorful patty, so that light butteriness is somewhat lost once it's part of a complete burger. Nevertheless, the bun's heft provides it with a satisfying textural element. But because the flavor is simple and ultimately negligible on an actual burger, it doesn't distinguish itself enough to rank very high. But with its notable size and heft, it's at least more than simply competent. Wendy's keeps things typical with a seedless bun, but it does stray from the norm a bit. The chain claims to toast its buns, though it may be so lightly toasted that you might not believe it. But the texture of an imperceptibly toasted burger bun can actually be a net positive. In this case, the Wendy's bun is naturally soft and pillowy, and excessive toasting could have easily compromised that softness.
You want something better. You're Wendy's kind of people.
The flavor of Wendy's bun is buttery, like a good white bread, and it has a richness to it that isn't that far off from sourdough. This all complements the burger quite nicely, providing a pleasant textural element, as well as some flavor that pairs well with the butteriness of the square beef patty. There's nothing fancy going on here, as Wendy's is simply satisfying enough to land in the middle of this list. Jack in the Box serves its burgers on lightly toasted, seedless burger buns. Texturally, they're a little denser than some competitors, becoming just slightly gummy after you bite into them. The flavor is buttery, and they even have a noticeable sourdough-esque richness similar to Wendy's buns. The bun's flavor is also subtle enough that it more or less fades into the background once it's part of the burger. Nevertheless, its heft and gummy character add a significant, satisfying textural element. More than just housing the patty and toppings, the Jack in the Box bun distinctly helps those ingredients achieve something greater.
What, are you afraid somebody in the fast food world's gonna show you up?
That may mostly be a matter of its consistency rather than its flavor, but such a pleasing consistency does mean that the bun becomes something more than just a delivery mechanism. For doing more than it has to do, the Jack in the Box bun earns a spot in the upper tier. Quality is the name of the game at Five Guys. While the chain ostensibly serves fast food, a higher price point indicates a desire to provide customers with a superior product. And housing the famously pricey Five Guys burger is a lightly toasted sesame seed bun. What immediately stands out about this bun is that it's taller than the fast food standard. As for the flavor, it's akin to buttered white bread. Texturally, the way it's toasted lends it a bit of a crunch, complementing a natural fluffiness. On its own, this is one of the more enjoyable buns in the mix, as the larger size, pleasant flavor, and satisfying consistency all work well in tandem. However, since each of these positive qualities is a little subtle, they do all fade somewhat into the background when part of a complete burger. Nevertheless, this is a bun that tastes pretty good on its own and contributes positively toward the burger's overall flavor. Simply put, Five Guys' commitment to quality is reflected in the above-average taste of its buns. Sonic tends to do things a little differently, from its car hop-based drive-in model to its highly customizable drink menu. The differences between Sonic's bun and the industry standard aren't incredibly obvious, but they're substantial enough to be notable. Based on its appearance alone, the Sonic bun sets itself apart from the pack by sporting a very lightly toasted top and a heavily toasted bottom. The flavor is buttery like many competitors, but it happens to be more buttery than most. The texture is solid and distinctly gummy, but not excessively so. Gumminess, of course, isn't natural, and there's no way that a Sonic bun is all that good for you. But considering that we're talking about fast food, healthfulness isn't exactly the most important factor here. Ultimately, Sonic's bun seems artificial, but that artificiality is in service of qualities that simply wouldn't be possible with more natural ingredients. On a burger, the prominent buttery flavor goes great with a beef patty, and the textural solidity is a major plus as well. Sonic's bun is messy and delicious, just as you'd expect from tasty fast food, and thus it serves as one of the foremost examples of what a cheap chain burger bun should be.
This is how you Sonic.
Assessed on the basis of culinary quality alone, it's hard to argue that the Martin's rolls at Shake Shack aren't among the best of the best. The chain lightly toasts its buns, and they even appear buttered. That's reflected in their flavor, which is light and buttery. It's also noticeably sweet, like a slice of Wonder Bread, but with a cleaner taste. The bun is also similar to an egg bagel, but lighter and spongier, complete with a slightly toasty crunch. Shake Shack's beef is flavorful enough to somewhat overpower even this atypically flavorful bun, but some of that flavor shines through all the same, as does the exceptionally balanced texture. The result is a burger bun that stands out considerably from the competition. The menu at Freddys frozen custard and Steakburgers is closer to somewhere like Five Guys rather than Burger King. That is to say, the price points are high, but there's a clear commitment to quality, and anyone willing to splurge on a Freddys burger can rest assured that its bun is one of the best in the game. Freddys opts to toast its bun asymmetrically, heavily on top and lightly on bottom. This is one of the tastiest buns out there when eaten on its own, with a flavor that approaches a sourdough more closely than any other bun on this list. The texture falls somewhere between pillowy and gummy, matching lightness with heft. When part of a completed burger, its balanced texture and rich flavor complement the quality of the chain's ingredients perfectly. Overall, Freddys bun excels in virtually every relevant category, and it would be an upgrade on almost any fast food burger.
How about a Freddys Original Double with cheese?
2 and a turtle sundae, please.
It's no secret that In-N-Out is one of the most hyped fast food burger chains in America. That was certainly evident when people waited 8 hours in line when Idaho's first In-N-Out opened in 2023. Whether or not the chain truly lives up to its reputation is a matter of debate, but one thing is certainly clear: its buns reign supreme. The bun at In-N-Out is taller than average, and this turns out to be key to one of its strengths. Texturally, it's soft and spongy by default. However, both halves are pretty significantly toasted, creating a contrast of soft on one end and crisp on the other. This means that every bite contains both a soft white bread component and a buttered toast element. That dual nature adds more value than virtually any other burger bun possibly could, and that's why In-N-Out tops our list of the best burger buns.